Great. And the next candidate and the last one for this evening is Craig Cayetano, who's running for the Hawthorne, that's in New Jersey, Town Council and at-large seat. And so we want to welcome Craig. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Gloria, how are you? Good to see you.
Great. It's great to see you again. And you've been a candidate before. So why don't you tell us first maybe a little bit about who you are, what your campaign is like now, and just curious to know if what are the differences or similarities as being a second time candidate, and is it in the same area?
Thanks a lot, and it's great to be here. So first and foremost, my name is Craig Cayetano. I've been involved with the Green Party since 2016. I was politically active growing up, and you know, came from a lower income household. So going through high school, I was always kind of involved in movements, building even back then. I had knocked on doors for Ralph Nader in 2000. We all kind of go to sleep for a little bit, so I came back around to politics in 2015, was helping with Sanders' campaign. And then once that ended, I already had some friends that were involved with the Green Party. So I knew I wanted to move over and dedicate my time and effort and energy to honestly help us build an alternative. So got involved with the party, worked on a bunch of campaigns in New Jersey here. And honestly, it was growing. We've been doing well here in New
Mhm.
Jersey. So I had eventually decided to get involved more in my town. And our towns have environmental commissions. Some in New Jersey have green teams, which are offshoots attached to the environmental commissions. And there's some work you can do there. There's some issues you can bring up, but there's only so much you can do in that capacity in that space. And obviously, as we as Greens and allies watching us realize, the environmental impacts are going to start taking notice, and there's communities that might not have ever been affected that are going to start to see themselves affected. And that was the reason why I decided to step up and run for town council. There was discussions about like simple things like charging stations and little things like that that can help small businesses, and that's where I wanted to kind of take the Green Party platform and apply it to local and community based like economics and situations. So it's trying to find ways to foster more of a community focus, build small business, trying to work on obviously a sustainable plan. And even this year, well, the race last time was for Ward 3, which was one of our four wards, and that kind of gave the momentum because in small town politics, especially in North Jersey, even West Jersey, I don't think people are aware that a lot of the campaigns that run are basically relatives of somebody, or they were a coach. It's all kind of like who you know. It's like old school, old guard. So this is a great race and a great town, and I felt that I can personally get involved and bring some change forward. So the ward race was really the momentum to get to here. We are with the at-large race. So this year we have three council seats up for grabs. The incumbents are Republicans. The majority of the town is Republican controlled. So one is moving up to run for mayor. So there's a vacancy there, and then the two incumbents are running. And one of them even was quoted that he only ran because he didn't want to leave a vacuum of power. So, and then of course the town committee's chair's daughter is now propped into the other seat. So you just see how the machinations work.
Mhm.
By running and running on real issues and running hard and being door to door with community in the 2019 race, basically let people know that there's another approach and we offer a different perspective. So our platform was supported by everybody. It's not just about unaffiliated, but it's also was approached by Republicans and Democrats. And this year has been great so far. I've had a really good response going door to door. We did have to run last year as a special election because regretfully the incumbent that won the ward race passed away. So we held a special election, and that's different campaigning during COVID. So we had
Mhm.
to think outside the box, get creative. And one of the great events I came up with, because I love to have fun events to make this fun, the process fun and inclusive, was I met the ice cream truck guy and I said, "Hey, would you mind if I put some campaign stuff on your truck and go around and give out ice cream?" And we worked out a thing. And yeah, so Howie Hawkins came down. He was running for president, and Malin Hoffman came over. She was running obviously for Senate. So we had a blast. And where are you going to see a candidate? You're going to see a Democrat, Republican think outside the box, go out and hop in an ice cream truck. When are you going to see your presidential candidate come down and hang out and just go out and meet people like that? So that's where the Green Party has the ability to approach people differently. Our platform is stellar. and it's really just trying to take it to a local aspect.
It's great. I mean, you've done some really great campaign events, both in your first campaign and this one. Lots of social media and lots of coverage, which is great. And I'm glad you mentioned the platform. Really, in your website, you really take the four pillars of the Green Party. So that's something that we subscribe to nationally, right? We all know it, but you really break it down and say, like, well, what does that mean? What does grassroots democracy mean on the local level? What does environmentalism mean on the local level? And I think that that's a great lesson for candidates and a great way to show that the Green Party has this very big picture focus and plan, but also can be done locally. I don't know if there's anything else that you've kind of connected with Green Party principles that you're promoting locally in your race.
Thank you. And this year's a little different too. As I mentioned, that the environmental impacts are going to come home to all of us. In Hawthorne alone, we've had a lot of storms this year, and we have flooding. And now flooding is a major issue. And I don't think people thought about it before. Oh, maybe there's that one flood once a year, but we've already had like three floods this year. And when you start connecting the dots, it makes sense. There's some projects that had been greenlit to build locally, and I had come out and I said I want to preserve open spaces and green spaces, but obviously they're going to roll them through, and that's where it really is important when we say we don't take any PAC
Mhm.
money. I even go out and say don't no developer money, and I have no ties to the developer industry, but a lot of these committees in town are also kind of entrenched with the same old people that have been in there for 5 years, 10 years. So it seems like they're trying to push a certain agenda through and build where they can. They try to say that they're offering affordable housing, but they're really not offering affordable housing because they're not hitting the mandate, and they're making deals because I guess if you decide to do certain things with making them rentals, you get different credits back. So it's a different topic, and we had the census this year, and the results came back, and we're up 4.5% in population, and now we're almost at 20,000, and Hispanic and Latino population is 23.8%, and Black and African is 5.9%. So I want to see this community move forward. I want us to plan ahead if there is a major disaster that comes through. I don't want to have residents stranded for 3, 4 days waiting to try to get out of the development that they're putting up
Mhm.
at the end in the middle of a flood zone. So a lot of the platform has obviously been consistent. The message is consistent. I run on that. It's a consistent thing in me. So it's just taking that and tying the two together. And I was just having a conversation on social media the other day with somebody, and they didn't understand the fact that the flooding, you can have like rain gardens and things like that, and that can all tie in and help avoid some of the flooding and divert some of the flooding that we have. So that's another obviously key issue. We During the last storm when Ida passed through, we have well water, but our well water got contaminated with E. coli in a couple wells. So that raised alarm. So the questions that were posed on social media were basically ignored by the councilmen. I was at a green fair out, and they didn't want to address the social media stuff. They're really trying to ignore it. And then I put out an article because that's what I am. I'm not going to sit around. I'm going to literally put everybody on notice, let people be aware, let them read and see what's going on, because people need to be in the know. And I don't think that they communicated the situation properly at the time. They did finally come up with a timeline at the last council meeting I attended. So they did say, well, if it did go another day or two, we would do a reverse 911. We would have considered other things. And I said, well, let's plan ahead now. You have to think outside the box, because it could be the next disaster next week. It could be a year from
Mhm.
now, but let's not just react to it. Let's really take focus on it.
Yeah, I have to say, Craig, you're the vibrancy and the depth of your campaign, your platform, your plans. For Hawthorne, I think really are a testament to the green values, and I think sounds like they're really reaching a lot of people. In fact, I noticed your endorsements are quite impressive, from Democratic Party candidates to the young eco-socialists of our very own Green Party to other activists. And so, how have you been able to build this kind of wide coalition of support?
So as I said, the Ward 3 race was really like the precursor to all this. So yes, the work speaks for itself, and just as regular everyday person concerned, when you show up, You make relations, you build inroads, you're building those coalitions. Obviously, when time comes and you're going to run for office, you can,
Mhm.
ask, hey, would you consider endorsing? So it really does speak volumes when you actually show up, attend events, do what you can, and get out in the community. In terms of endorsements, yeah, I was proud to get last year the Sunrise Montclair Hub had endorsed,
Mhm.
which was nice because it's the members. When you get to down to that level, it's the individual members that know they get it. And even this year, I just received the New Jersey League of Conservation Voters endorsement, which is the first for a green candidate in New Jersey. I have other endorsements I've submitted. I'm waiting to hear back, and I'm hoping that those can break through ceilings because these are orgs in New Jersey that would have never that haven't considered greens or basically ignored us in the past. Now we're not going to take money from them, but it's still seeing that endorsement that gives us more leverage when we go to campaign and we go door to door. Because when you actually have to knock on the Democrats' door, you can say, "Hey, look, I'm in this. I'm campaigning. This is what I bring to the table. This is endorsements I've earned." They're like, "Oh, wow, okay." And obviously, transversely with anybody who you speak to, it does make an impact. And this town is a great community. I love it. I hope to eventually have a family to raise here, but right now it's my community. I'm going to give the energy I can and do what I can to try to bring some of these things forward. And as a
Mhm.
councilman, you can bring resolutions ahead. There's clean energy initiatives around New Jersey that a lot of environmental orgs are pushing. As a councilman, I can bring that forward. I can bring forward a resolution to support ranked choice voting. Little things like we support Medicare for all. Those are the things that you can do on local levels that really impact. So it actually will overall help the whole cause.
Thanks. We can. I think I speak for others to say can really hear the dedication and the love you have for your community and what you're putting into that. And so, as we're wrapping up, what do you want people to know? How can they reach you? Any particular events coming up you want to share?
Yeah, of course. So you can always check us out. We have a full website, Cayetano number 4 council.com, which is on the bottom here. And also Cayetano number 4 council is our Facebook and Instagram. And on Twitter, we're green number 4 Hawthorne. We want to hold another event, like a big fun event. And we need a little bit more donation. So if any of the Greens allies across the country see this, $5, $7, $10, anything will help us pull this off. Yeah, there's still some people I've talked to in town that are kind of hesitant, obviously because of COVID. So, if I can bring the ice cream truck to them again, I'd love to. Those little stuff like that. I try to find fun ways. We have early voting this year in New Jersey. It's the first time ever. Of course, there's nothing in Hawthorne for early voting, so that'll be something I have to write about. But yeah, we're left off there. So now I'm going to offer rides to anybody that wants to do early voting. So I'm just trying to think of other little things along the way, but it's great to be here. It's great to speak, and meet all the other candidates too. I can't wait, and I hope we all bring home victories this fall.
Great. Thank you so much, Craig, and best of luck in your campaign.
Thank you.